Hello guys, how are you doing? Magando Umaga Salahat. 2025, I think I need to start putting some Tagalog word in my vocabulary. 12 years around people speaking Tagalog. I already have a solid base in Tagalog, but I don't even know why I'm not fluent yet. When I arrived here in the Philippines, I wasn't fluent in English, but right now I'm pretty much, I have a decent English, I think, but in Tagalog, I'm still struggling to speak Tagalog like I speak English. But well, maybe not because I didn't have to work in Tagalog. I mean, I didn't have to use Tagalog for work or for study. Like I had to do it for English. But anyway, that's the minimum that I could have to put some Tagalog word already in my introduction for 2025. So I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys are perfectly okay. Myself, I'm perfectly fine right now because 2 days ago I was a little bit sick. So I'm slowly recovering, but right now I think I'm 90% recovered already. So this video is just to come back on one actuality that happened actually a couple weeks before Christmas. I think maybe 2 weeks before Christmas, which was a good news, especially for Filipino and a specific Filipino family. I come back on this video because I have talked about that actuality already like maybe 4 months ago, but I'm just coming back right now because I didn't talk about it when it actually happened. You are probably asking what actuality is this or what I'm talking about. If you are hearing the news in the Philippines, you should probably be aware that couple years, no, like more than 10 years already now, or more than 14 years right now, there was a Filipino citizen that was sentenced to death in a neighborhood country. And yeah, it has been a long battle with the government of the Philippines and that neighborhood country to have that Filipino citizen sent back to the Philippines and not execute. And yeah, the good news is that she was finally sent back to the Philippines like 2 weeks before Christmas, I think. So you can easily imagine how what kind of Christmas was for her family, right? It's like that's like you cannot have a better Christmas gift. I mean, I just trying to think of me being a father right now and then seeing your kids coming back, something that you were not really expecting anymore, and then just before Christmas. I don't know if you can have a better Christmas, but anyway, we know that the joy was there for that family, but that's not really the point of this video. My point here is, for this video is, hey, when I usually say that for me, Philippines, I probably choose Philippines over a lot of country in the world. People will say, again, so sugar coating, yeah, you're living in the Philippines, right? Probably when you leave the Philippines, your talk will change, your point will change, your argument will change. But just tell you why, one of the reasons why I'm always saying, just be careful on the country that you're choosing to live in. That's just a subjective approach. That's just my thought. Just be careful on the country that you're choosing to live in. And I'm very satisfied sometimes with that French sentence of one former president of France. He used to say, the France, you love it or you leave it, right? And you hear sometimes that sentence in a lot of countries. People will say, if you don't like the country, leave it. Maybe at some point it's a little bit extreme to say that, right? But for me, really, when I go to a country, there are 1 or 2, 3 points that I'm looking for. And honestly, if I see them in the, among the law, among the constitution or something like that, with all due respect, I'm probably going to leave. Or I'm not probably going to settle in that country. Anyway, I haven't been settled in a lot of countries in the world. And definitely you cannot come in other people's country and you want to change it or start putting your rule. But I think the minimum that you can do is that if you are not okay with all the rule that they're having there, then probably it's not the right country for you. And for me, the country that are not right for me, I think it's the country where the death penalty is still applicable. When I say where the death penalty is still applicable, it's especially where the death penalty is still active. Because when you take a look at it, even my own country in Cameroon, where I'm coming from, where I came from or where I come from, the death penalty, when you look in the constitution, among the punishment that you can have for different crime that you can do, death penalty is among these punishment that you can get from the law. But the last time that someone was executed in Cameroon, it's, I don't know, I don't even remember, I don't know even if I was born when the last person was executed in Cameroon. Most of the people right now who's doing, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to say who deserve execution, maybe the English term are not really correct, but so for those who are supposed to be sentenced to death in my country, they will change it and they will just give them a life imprisonment. And I have explained that on some of my previous videos, that for me really, you know, it's not because behind that you're feeling like, okay, you're trying to encourage people to do something that are wrong and stuff like that, but I always believe that it's very difficult for somebody or for someone who's not around anymore to, you know, to defend himself, or even if he cannot defend himself anymore because the sentence has been already given. What if the sentence is wrong? We have seen several cases. Here I'm not talking about any typical country. This is just my personal point of view on the, you know, death sentence, which is still applicable in my country, by the way, and which is not applicable anymore in the Philippines. So in that point, probably I enjoy Philippines more than my own country. But I think they are in the same level, even though in my country it's still written in the law, but in the Philippines it's not even written in the law anymore. So kudos to the Philippines, because I'm really someone who's really cheering for removing that in every country in the world. So yeah, and the Philippines was even one of the first. I think it was in 1987 that they even took it off from the constitution and, you know, law and stuff like that. Even though I read some article where there are people who still, you know, working on putting it back, but anyways, none of my business. But talking about my country, I will say it's still also a little bit like Philippines, even though it's still written in the law. It's because in my country really there are several type of crime that have been done. There are several type of, you know, misbehavior that probably will have deserved death sentence. When you look at the law, it could have been a death sentence penalty, but they have changed it to a life imprisonment, because really I think, I don't know why they change all sentence to, I mean, all supposed death sentence to life imprisonment, but they are not able to remove that death sentence from the constitution. But if I look politically in my country, I think at maybe in 1984 there were like attempt to remove the former presidents by force. There were like a tentative of putsch, and it didn't work well, and that day they got all the people, all the military people were trying who attempt to remove him, and they got all shot. So they got all sentenced. They were all sentenced to death penalty, and they were all killed like that. I think, for me, I think that's maybe one of the reasons why they're still keeping it, you know, for those eventual things where some people will maybe think of, you know, maybe people will think of doing a push, or maybe, you know, the tentative of removing the president from his office while he's still in function. It's really to tell you that there will be no other chance or no other penalty other than death penalty. But I think aside of this case, there were never other cases where people were sentenced to death. We had several war in our country. We have several people doing all kind of things that are not acceptable, but it was all turned to life sentence imprisonment. I know a lot of people will say, okay, why are you sharing about it? If you know that you're behaving correctly, if you're doing the right thing, you should not worry about it, you should not be scared about it. But you know, for me, people we are all human, we are all doing mistake, right? And even the best judge in the planet can do mistake, because it's a human. And that's something for me that I have seen several people that were sometimes put in jail, and it turned out that they were not the one who did who commit the crime, or it was the wrong person that we put in the jail. And at least at that moment, it's just someone that you put in the jail, but how much more someone that you have sentenced to death, right? So anyway, to come back to the point when it's come to country, this is something where me going to a country, I'm always saying to people, hey, look at some, you know, hard law in that country that you feel like you cannot deal with that. And if you cannot deal with that, you better not step in that country, or you better not live in that country. And really, a lot of countries where death penalty are in place, I respect the country, I respect the law, I respect, you know, everybody do what he wants with his country. You know, the government put in place whatever they want to put in place, and then if you step in that country, you have to follow that. And if you are not happy, don't step in that country. And that's simply what I'm doing. I check the law, I check the regulation. There are 1 or 2 points that I'm not so okay with that. I'm not going to go. I cannot imagine. I mean, here in the Philippines, you know, there are so many foreigners coming here in the Philippines, so many foreigners, and sometimes there are so many foreigners acting wrong. I have to be honest with that. There are so many foreigners acting wrong in the Philippines, and I'm going to say that the Philippines even have a high level of tolerance. Honestly speaking, no sugarcoating. The Philippines have a high level of tolerance. I've been in Japan several times, and I speak by experience as a foreigner living in the Philippines. I have been in Japan, the level of tolerance is different. I have been in Macau, the level of tolerance is different. I haven't been in Africa, the level of tolerance towards certain acts are very different. So when you have a chance to live in that kind of country, well, you turn off to 12 years as I'm turning out 12 years in the Philippines, right? Because you feel like the law are nowhere is perfect, but in this country, I find a little similarity with my country in terms of certain freedom. It doesn't mean that where you put it, the death penalty, there is no freedom. I remind you again, even in my own country, the death penalty is still written black and white in the Constitution. It's just that it's not applicable for several years right now. So, yeah, that's just a little thing that I wanted to talk with you. The update about that Filipino citizen is that she finally went back to the Philippines from that neighborhood country. I think she's now doing jail here in the Philippines under the Philippines law and Philippines government. And yeah, for her family, at least they can still talk to their daughter, the sister, the mother for couple year. And that's a tremendous news for, at least for that family. It's an excellent news to see someone that you didn't expect to see for so much time, or maybe you were expecting to be dead already. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about the death penalty. Is it applicable in your country? Are you currently living in the country where the death penalty is applicable, or are you amenable to live in a country where a death penalty is applicable? So keep liking, keep sharing, and more importantly, keep subscribing. Be Bala.